Right now, I'm playing a shit ton of Uncharted.
Oh, are we switching topics?
We are switching
Did
topics.
it just happen, or are we in the middle of it?
We're now in topic 2. Does it shoot? Oh, it does shoot. Oh, man, that's not a good idea.
I know, right? Let's shoot a thing that's like the tiniest little thing. That's Cyborg, everybody, from the hit game Lego Dimensions. Don't worry, they send you 3 extras. So.
Do they?
Yeah.
I wish they did that when we were kids.
Right? Well, they learned.
They lost all my
Yeah,
missiles for
that's
all my
ridiculous.
planes and shit, my G.I. Joe planes.
That ain't a good idea at all. So, okay, Uncharted.
Right.
This is a very, very, very big deal to me that this Uncharted Nathan Drake collection came out. Because in 2007, the game came out, Uncharted 1, PlayStation 3, and I did not own a PS3 at the time because I was a poor child.
You don't have to make excuses.
Yeah.
I didn't own I was on the PlayStation team. Didn't own a PlayStation.
Well,
3
no,
for the
that
first
was,
year and a half.
yeah, that was the thing. But then Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, sold a bunch of games, got my PS3, super stoked about it, beat Metal Gear 4, and then I was like, what's the game that I've been waiting for? I remember there was a game I played at GameStop. There was this thing, there was a demo. I forgot what it was. I didn't know it was Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like Google searching, trying to figure it out, scouring the internet.
Yeah.
And then I saw Uncharted. I'm like, that's what it is.
And then you saw it.
It's that. I didn't realize.
Some white guy. Fuck, there's a lot of these people.
Yeah,
in
no.
this
I
game.
didn't realize that which one it was because I remember when it was first announced and it just looked like Tomb Raider, like when the first trailer for it.
The guys who did Crash are doing this weird jungle game. You're like, what?
Yeah, and I totally wrote it up, but I didn't realize that it was the same game that I had played a demo of. And then I bought it and I fell fucking in love with it. And Uncharted 1, to this day, one of my favorite games of all time. Then 2 came out. I got distracted, started doing a bunch of other stuff, and eventually 3 came out, and I was like, I'm gonna get to them one day. Then it got to the point where I was like, all right, I bought them. I bought both of them. And I'm like, I'm going to beat them. Just going to back-to-back beat them. Then the PS4 was announced. I'm like, they're definitely going to do an HD version.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of motherfucker that's like, I want to play the like HD shit. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to wait for them to finally announce it. And they announced it. Now it's fucking out. Now I get to play it.
Sure.
So now I get to join you gentlemen
Yay.
as people.
That like
That
Uncharted
deserve to
3
live,
more than
really.
Uncharted 2.
So far, I've been playing the shit out of these games. I didn't play 1 because I already beat that
You already
before.
knew 1, yeah.
Yeah. And I beat 2, and I'm 25% through 3.
Okay.
Planning to beat it within the next week.
So you already got to the part where Elena hangs herself.
I think I missed that part.
Okay. Sorry.
But,
Well, it's not coming up. Don't worry about it.
Okay. But I'm fucking in love with this franchise and this game specifically. The collection is so good.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God, it's beautiful. They did such a good job of making last gen look great this gen.
Yeah.
And because I remember Uncharted 1 and how it looked, and it looked great. And I played a demo of Uncharted 2, so I remember how these all look and feel or whatever. But like this is some next level shit.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to know from you guys is, because obviously I have a lot of opinions as a first time player of this shit, but I want to know if you guys are excited about playing, or if you've played any of the collection so far, and if people that have already played the games should replay.
We played 40 minutes or so of each.
For Let's Plays.
Drake's Fortune Among Thieves and Drake's Deception. And I agree with you that, well, first of all, and I said this on PS I Love You, but I just can't quantify because I just don't know whether it's necessarily true or not. I don't remember that game looking that good. Specifically the first one. I just don't remember it looking like that. I remember there being a massive jump between 1 and 2 and a much smaller jump between 2 and 3. And I feel like the jump isn't really there anymore. And I don't know if it's just like,
They put a sheen on all of this. They have.
Yeah, I just don't-
'Cause that's the thing is like, yeah, what you're saying is when you saw 2 after 1, you're like, holy crap. And like 1 looks now the way it looked in my head. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
you sit there and the jokes are always about Ocarina of Time, right? Where you think back and you imagine running through Hyrule Field and it was beautiful, and then you go back and it's just one flat fucking texture and 2 trees. And you're like, damn. You know what I mean? Like the Uncharted 1 playing through it again and Drake's Fortune on the collection, I was like, oh, this game's great. I'm like, something was done here to make it look more beautiful. You know what I mean?
yeah. So I think, as far as I understand, Blue Point has, and I was reading about this because I actually didn't. I've only played Drake's Fortune in the collection. Greg played all of them on our Let's Play, so I don't know. The gist of it is that they've apparently unified the combat a little bit between the games, which is cool because there was differences. People had a huge problem with 3's combat, especially, and I think that pre-patch, I think once they patched it, there was something off to that about that game with a lot of people. I didn't really. I mean, I remember that vaguely. It's a long time ago. That's like 150 games ago. So to answer your questions, we spent a little bit of time, but not enough to authoritatively talk about the collection itself. Other than to say that I'm sure Blue Point has done a great job as they always.
Sounds like he has.
As they always do, and we noticed some things in our Let's Plays that I'm not positive were in the original games in terms of like some weird like magnetism with jumps and
The
some
security
weird,
guards, the
like some
security
weird
guards.
like frame jumping and stuff. Like I don't remember things like this, but they might have always been there, and I just don't know. We were so enamored with these fucking games. Who the fuck knows? But do I recommend playing them again? Yes, they're fantastic games. I'm gonna play through them all again. I think that they're fucking must-play games if you've never played them, and even if you have played them, I've platinumed all 3 of the games, as has Greg on PS3. I'm going to platinum the 3 of them again. So, and it'll be easier this time because crushing's unlocked and all that.
There is one mode that's not unlocked.
Yeah, brutal mode is not unlocked, and even though the trophies are not live yet, I reached out to Sony and they sent me the trophies, and so I looked at them, and while I cannot tell everyone the exact extent of the trophies, I can talk a little bit about them according to my contacts there, and they gave me permission to say that there are trophies, gold trophies attached to brutal difficulty, but what it appears to be, and what we were talking about today on Colin and Greg was there seems to be DLC attachments to each of them in on the trophy lists.
in
quotes. So what I mean by that is like it's like the core game has its core list, and there are some new trophies on the core list, especially for 2 and 3 because they removed the online trophies because there's no online components. But then there seems to be an extended version trophy list that is equivalent to a DLC or a downloadable game trophy list that has like a bunch of random shit in. And in that trophy list are the brutal difficulty ones, as long as like along with all these other like trophies that Blue Point put into the game that were not in the game originally. So it seems like the platinum might just be contingent on beating it on crushing, which is manageable. We've done that already. These are, I hate using this word because it's like such a contrived and a meaningless word, really, but these are magical games. Like these are, the Uncharted trilogy is special. This is the cream of the crop PlayStation exclusive series. Not maybe the game. I mean, I think The Last of Us is better than all of the Uncharted games, but this is from the studio that made The Last of Us, and this, in terms of a series, this is the most important, pivotal, paramount apex series for PlayStation, and so everyone deserves and owes it to themselves to play these games. I think the Uncharted series is virtually unmatched in terms of its combination of gameplay, story, acting, writing, and presentation. I don't think anyone does all of that better than the Uncharted series. A lot of series do gameplay better, a lot of series might do storytelling better, but none of them takes
one
all of that. I don't think anything. Maybe BioShock and The Last of Us and a few other games.
Yeah. You know, playing through them for the first time, for all intents and purposes, it is magical. It is really amazing, and I'm just addicted to playing it. I keep thinking about it. It's one of those games where it's like I want to be playing it right now. I want to know what happens next.
Sure.
It's interesting though to see that in addition to them all being masterpieces, like at least so far, all 3 of them I would say are amazing games. It's crazy to see the improvement, like specifically from 1 to 2. Because I loved 1. I think 1 is such a great game. 2 is so much better.
Yeah.
It's like not even a question. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that 1 was a lot harder than 2. And I think hard not in a like challenging way, just in kind of this is bullshit.
Bang your head against the wall.
Yeah.
How are you gonna survive this monster
There's just
class
so many
again?
waves of motherfuckers coming, and it's just like, God damn it.
That's always been their style with their first games too. Crash,
for
instance, it's like they don't nail difficulty levels right the first time. They just don't.
And that's a very good point. I mean, it definitely feels like that. And it's not to say Uncharted 1 was difficult. It's just compared to 2 got the balance so much better.
Yeah.
It was just fun. Like, I never felt, anytime I died a couple times, it was my fault. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I had to do better the next time. That's good. It's like,
that's
when you
game
feel
design.
like you're being rewarded to constantly keep pushing forward, it's great. And I think that the 1 was a little bit repetitive. Like, it was, very much you climb a bit, then cutscene, and then you shoot a bunch of motherfuckers, and people just keep kind of coming. And then there wasn't too many set pieces in 1. Like there was a few key things, but especially not compared to 2.
Yeah, I guess set piece is kind of the wrong place. Maybe we were wrong word. Maybe arena.
Oh, okay.
Arena makes perfect sense.
Yeah. There'd be like an arena thing, and then a puzzle, and the puzzle just slows everything to like a crawl.
Sure.
Where all of a sudden it wasn't this forward-moving thing. It's like, all right, I need to stop and think about this stuff. I definitely think the puzzles are the weakest parts so far, and that also goes into 2. I feel like 2's pacing was so much better, where it had that same format, but they'd switched up a bit more, and the arenas never felt as similar to each other. Like, I guess the terrain and there was a lot more verticality in 2 than 1 for sure, and also just the locations being different made it feel more fresh. Like being in a city compared to just a jungle the whole time.
Yeah,
and like the snow, and there's just so many different variations on environments, and that made it a lot better too. But then whenever it got to the puzzle parts, I was always just like, oh man, like I know what I need to do here. This isn't fun. Like the idea of looking at the journal and figuring out the clues of how you need to do stuff. It's cool and it's like nifty, but nifty is the best way I can put it, which is like that's not a good thing. It's just like, all right, I guess that's unique. And then on the PS4, you hit the little like trackpad thing, but then you don't turn the pages with the trackpad.
That was weird,
you
right?
Turn it with the. It's like those sections were the one things that I'm like, oh, this isn't perfect. Having said that, I still think it's
Fun.
amazing, as perfect of a game as it can be. But like, there's, I'm just giving my gripes, my
I hear you,
small
bro.
minor gripes here. But yeah, those sections, it was like the puzzles are all so obvious, and it's like, okay, I know what I need to do. Why do I need to look at this picture and match these things that takes 3 years to
Rotate them to
rotate,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this stuff? It's like that. It's when it stopped feeling like, oh my god, I'm playing through a movie, and I'm playing a video game.
Sure.
So-
They're learning.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't beat 3 yet. Although 25% into 3, I've already seen more of those bullshit type puzzles than were in 2 at all.
Oh,
What'd
interesting.
without spoiling, what did you think of the beginning of 3? Did you know that happened
That happened.
after the intro?
The
Don't say it.
okay. Yeah,
But-
no, I didn't. Very cool.
That's like my favorite moment in any Uncharted game.
No, yeah. It's been very I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but 3 so far is the one that I'm most intrigued because I'm like, what's happening? Like
Yeah.
I don't know where this is
Talbot?
going. Yeah.
Catherine Marlowe.
Is he cross-eyed, or is that just a glitch
It's
in a
presumably
cutscene I was looking
That
at?
must be a glitch in the cutscene you're
Okay,
looking at. Yeah,
because
he
I thought that
wasn't-
was part of his character. I'm like, that's pretty, that's weird.
Catherine Marlowe's cross-eyed friend.
Yeah. But the biggest issue I had with 2 is the puzzle parts and the fact that it felt just a little too long. Like, I feel like we could have shaved off maybe 10%. Like one last, all right, now I have this clue. Oh, but this clue's not the final thing. This clue just shows I need one more place to go. And it's just like, I felt like it was just the same story beat over and over and
Sure.
over. And 3 is definitely already kind of remedying that. So it is cool to see the progression of them learning how to change it up and stuff. And it's 2 was essentially 1 again, but bigger and better.
See, that was my problem with 2, and why I think when we were talking about this, I always talk about why I think I like 3 more, just from a story perspective, is the fact that I thought 2 was supercharged 1 in like beat by beat of all this stuff's happening. All right, this guy's gonna betray you. All right, this is
And
going
really
on.
beat by beat. Like
This
there's
is-
story elements
Guess
that
what?
I'm like,
There's a supernatural twist. You're like, what the fuck? No, this is out of the blue. Okay, whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And, it's like,
and that worked the first time.
Yeah.
I
Oh, the
think.
first time I remember playing, like, holy cow! And then the second one, I was like, I'm predicting everything that's about to happen. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
well-
I'm aware, not like specifically, but in terms
I mean,
of
but I
beats.
essentially predicted, like once the supernatural stuff in 2 happened,
Yeah.
I knew the source of it.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Where, because like it's very obvious if you played the first game.
Sure.
But yeah, already playing the third one, I'm like, man, this is different.
Yeah,
Like the
that's one
way
of the
they're
reasons I love
handling
it,
the
yeah.
story is so different. The environments again and all that stuff, and then the gameplay changes too. Like it's just it's fun that like the opening scene of 3 is
The bar fight?
the bar fight
Amazing.
and
Camera
totally
angles.
unlike
Yeah.
the opening of 2 or the opening of 1. And I think that's good because they totally could have just, again, 2 opens with the train hanging off the
Yeah,
thing. They could have just done that again with 3, where it's like, here's another crazy ass thing.
How's
You're in
Drake
this
gonna get out of
action
this one?
situation?
Yeah.
Where the bar fight was like totally unexpected and fun and really. It was cool, and what happens after the bar fight, it was just like, what the fuck? What's
Yeah.
going on here? And for a while, it started feeling a little tutorial-y, but it's the beginning of a game.
Yeah,
That
exactly,
shit's going to
exactly.
happen. But yeah, so far, 3 has been a lot slower, and there hasn't been any moment that I'm like, fuck, this is awesome.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
2 has some of those. Like, I tweeted about this. Everyone always talks about this train sequence being the most amazing thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now that I finally know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
holy shit, that was amazing. That is a video game set piece 101. Every game designer should look at that and be like, this is how to make fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Having said that, that wasn't my favorite set piece in the game. I think that the building scene,
Oh, right.
like that was better than the train scene. Like that was definitely something that had me be like, oh shit, I am engaged with what's happening.
See, and it's
right now.
that's interesting. How much do you know about 3 sequences and
Yeah, I was
set
gonna
pieces
say,
and stuff?
yeah.
All right, great, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because there's a
Okay.
big one that was ruined in a commercial, right? That then spoiled it for when we were playing it in 3. But I think what you're talking about with 2 in particular is the fact that they hid the train forever. And the part with the building, you played through multiple times at E3s and preview events and everything
got it.
else. So that's probably why I get swept under the rug in terms of critics and press opinions. Right? It's just that we knew about it. I remember, I think I described that point by point in one of my first previews of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people knew about that.
Yeah.
Whereas what you're talking
Because
about.
I did not. It's funny because I knew about the train, at least being a big thing.
Sure.
Didn't know about the building. So when it was happening, I'm like,
Right.
what the shit is happening right now?
Yeah, my favorite sequence, I won't spoil it for either. It's not even what Greg's talking about either in the commercial. Is my favorite set piece and favorite scene sequence in. You'll know it, I think, when you get there. Once you beat 3, I'll ask you about it because I think it's fucking extraordinary, and I think it's actually one of the overlooked ones from the entire series. But Will, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, you've given no details on what you're talking about.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to. I want him to. I don't even want him to know it exists. So.
Okay. Oh, when Elena hangs herself.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
shit.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. My God, man, the characters. Like I knew I loved them. Like
Yeah.
even in 1, they were so great. But 2 really solidified. Like, man, I care about these characters. I care about the relationships so much. And it's like they added all the new characters they added in 2.
Oh, sure.
I fucking loved.
Right.
The villains, I fucking hate them. You
Lazarevic?
know, well, Lazarevic, whatever. But the other
I'm
fucking
bald and angry.
punk-ass
I'm gonna drink
motherfucker.
this stuff.
And I like that he calls him Lazarevic. like that is the dialogue's just so good.
It is really
and
good.
everything Sully says, period.
Yeah.
It's just the
It's always
best.
amazing, yeah.
The El Goddamn Dorado.
Oh, goddamn Dorado.
And in 3 he has another goddamn line that I really liked, but
It's blank right now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I am the opposite of Colin, where I loved those games and I had fun platinuming, and I just don't. I'm not psyched to do it again.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. I feel like when Last of Us was coming to PS4, I was like, yes, I've been craving replaying Last of Us. Awesome. And I sat down the weekend and I got to the dam, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Like it's just not the same. And I don't. And like, I mean, granted, Uncharted are a bit different because we had the platinum, so it was backwards, forwards. I reviewed them. I knew those games. You know what I mean? And so maybe that's part of it. And I just don't feel like going back and doing it again. I loved those games. If you've never played them, I would say, yeah, for sure play them. But if you're like you asked earlier, you know, if somebody hasn't, if you've played them before, should you play them again? Like that's a eye of the beholder kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't have it in me. I don't think.
See, what's interesting to me is the changes that they made, like the physics stuff, and they did make the games feel, from what I've been reading, they made all 3 of the games feel more similar to each other. And just the controller alone makes it so much better. Like,
Well, it was
being
weird to
able
play it and use the triggers.
Yeah, being
Like,
able
oh,
to use
shit.
the trigger and like to reload with R1 and all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like it feels so much more natural than the PS3 controller did. And I never really had an issue with the PS3
Yeah,
controller.
It's funny you say that because you can switch back to L1 and R1, and I did.
Oh,
Because
really?
I'm like, that's just how you play these games. Like that's it's gonna be weird going on Uncharted 4. I'm sure they'll give you
They'll
option
give you the
of that
option
too.
again for sure.
But I feel like these games, like I'm just used to playing them with L1 and R1, and when I tried to play them with the triggers, I'm like, I can't play it like this. It doesn't feel right.
This
Oh,
isn't what Neil Druckmann imagined.
And then in playing, I probably should have waited to do this, but it didn't really spoil anything anyways. But 25% through 3 last night, before I went to bed, I pulled up the Uncharted 4 like trailer.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I am so excited for this.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's
gonna
gonna
be
be so fun good. Yeah, so after I beat 3, I'm gonna play Golden Abyss, and I'm
Oh, wow.
very, very excited.
Golden Abyss is a
I'm just
great
in
game.
like a fucking good.
Very
Uncharted
Uncharted,
mood.
yeah.
game.
But the thing, going back to you replaying it, it's like these games are similar to movies in the sense that like some people like rewatching movies over and
Exactly.
over, and other
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't. And
Yeah.
like for me, I can't imagine really wanting to go back and play these Uncharted games again after I already beat them.
Yeah.
Like it's the gameplay is amazing, but the gameplay is a tool to progress the story.
Yeah, to
And
deliver
I
the
love
story.
that because it's like this is all right. One last topic I want to talk about before we move on is
Subtopic in this topic.
yeah, the subtopic within this is the fact that it's crazy how earlier I was talking about how different generations have control schemes that kind of just change or whatever.
Yeah,
And going from playing Metal Gear Solid 5, because I put that on hold to play this.
sure.
It's crazy that Uncharted just does not feel right. Like MGS5's action, just like going around and shooting and everything, I'm
Right.
like, and like the stealth and all that. I'm like,
Yeah.
this feels fucking awesome. And then playing this, it's like, oh man, this feels a little off. And it's like, I know it's just because I was just coming from that.
It's so hard
and
to
these
go
are
back,
games that are
man.
10 years old.
So
like,
hard to go back. That was the thing of playing the Uncharted 2 opening where we're like stealthing around trying to take out those guards, and I was in the fountain, and I like creep over behind the guy, and like you snap to cover and come around, and then it's like, all right, I hit the square button to grab him, and I just stand up and do a whiff a punch at his head and alert him, and I was like, wait, where's the sweet spot? Like that felt like that would have been in Metal Gear, the sweet spot to get
Yeah.
up and choke the guy, but it's like, okay, I got to figure this out. This isn't that game. This
Yeah.
isn't that thing because of time.
And that's the cool thing for me is like, you know, I took a break from Metal Gear because I wanted this linearity, and it's just like, man, I wish Metal Gear did play a little bit more like this story wise.
Yeah.
I just want to just get through this thing and be constantly rewarded for what I'm doing, but just pure like the feeling of how the character feels and how you feel in control of what you're doing. Like Snake is just so much more like on point, and I cannot wait for Uncharted 4. Like I think Uncharted 4 is just gonna merge those two to be this fucking perfect experience for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.